somebody might say, I liked tricking the audience into thinking it was over or something like that. Do you see him to give him a CD? No? Okay.
I would like one though.
He'll be here for the final.
Yeah, he will be here for the final. He said.
He's going to miss one of his to take this one.
Right. Tim, right here I wrote weak right hand position change. Mainly that you're going way up high and then the right hand has to jump down more than an octave. So that's when you're writing an arpeggio or something, it goes up like this and you all of a sudden are way down here. The pianists can do it and they work really hard to make it look easy, but it isn't easy. So if you want the hand to jump down an octave, give them like a quarter note or something that they can hold the pedal on while they're moving their hand, but not like 16ths or something. 16ths are the worst. You see this all the time. D, 1 to D to 2 to D, 3 to D to 4. It's how do you get the hand all the way down there? So you had some of these 6/4 inversions, and I just circled it and said D. But this, it was very good. I'd say if you clean up those 6/4s, it would suddenly sound really good. At the end, I circled the piano note and a singing note and put clashes with anticipation. The singer's going, fadeth not in haste. So you have
E.
fadeth not in haste. But the note in the piano up there is a D where you go, fadeth not, fadeth not, and then in haste. See? So the melody's going T, but the singer is supposed to be going do, do. These two notes.
Yeah, I see him.
Oh. So if you had, let's see, instead of giving the piano B flat, B flat, C, D, given it B flat, C, D, E flat, it would have reached the E flat at the same time the singer did, and it would have reinforced it. But I thought you did very good. A lot of the sounds I didn't like were this reoccurring 6/4. It's working well. Good job. John, let's see. Here, let me make a comment of this. I tried to talk about this, but when I was talking about it, I know it wasn't your primary concern. You were worried about other things. But I said, sing this folk song and see how fast it wants to go. And then I said, what would, if a song goes fast or slow, what would that mean as far as your setting of it? And I remember we talked about this. But what I was aiming at, what we finally got to, was that if it's going very fast, you're not going to have as many chord changes. If it's going really slow, you can have many chord changes, every beat or sometimes every other beat. So I think here, it's written to go fast, but there are too many changes in the chords. So the chords change as if it were a slow song, but it's labeled to go fast. So I liked the changes. But in retrospect, had I thought of it, I would have liked you to hear it really slow. I don't think the song necessarily goes slow. I mean, it's farewell and adieu to Spanish ladies. But as far as the accompaniment, say, imagine it's an instrumental. Like that, against it being played. So I think you're going to find it worked really well that way. So it's that matter. This is really tricky that your eye starts to change the chords, but your ear's not hearing it. You're not hearing how quickly they change. So a couple of those evil 6/4 inversions you're not supposed to have, and there's a regression of augmented sixth in the melody. But there were some times, what happened was I was listening to this and I went, I really liked that piano part. And then I went, well, why am I not liking the whole thing? It fits. And I finally decided it's just the chords changing so quickly. And I think the singer felt it, like everything's changing all the time. And could you just hold a chord for a couple of beats because I'm going so quickly. So almost couldn't keep up with it. That's fine. There's augmented second. Especially right here, the chords are just changing too fast to tell where you are. And then it slows.
So it's sort of like it's too busy. to pay
Yes,
attention.
exactly. Yeah. And you could take the exact same song, and if it's going really, really fast, you just won't have as many chord changes. But if you take it as an adagio, you can get by with many, many chord changes there. And this is just one of those things, you can't ever talk about this until you know all of the part writing rules or everything. But that's where we are now, and that's why we're kind of stepping back and listening to it. So I'm glad you had this really interesting, intricate piano part, because that was really good. And if you ever get a chance to grab Mr. Shepard and say, could I just hear this as a kind of an adagio and see what it sounds like? I think you'll find it better. The only other thing is the 6/4 inversions, right out of cadence. She had this. Let's see, this key. 5, 1, 6, 4. You hear how it doesn't sound like a cadence?
Yeah.
So it should be, but you just put a B in the bass, and that automatically made it in E minor. That was a 6/4 inversion. So when you were singing it, when you got to the cadence, I could tell you were like, I'm cadencing. You know, I'm going, re, do. Where's the chord where I cadence? It's a tonic chord, but it didn't sound like you were cadencing because it's like so, do, so, do. But this one was going so. It sounds like the phrase is still going. It hasn't cadenced yet. And then a new phrase started. It's like, but I didn't finish the old one. And all because of the inversion. The chords were all right. I thought there for a minute, maybe some of the chords are wrong, but it's mainly just the inversion makes them sound.
All right. You have to get here.
Oh, we talked about Christopher's, the busyness in the piano could have been covering up the singer. So if you go, but if you've got a whole lot going on, and in this case, the singer was singing in the bass clef, so the busy part was actually higher. So one thing you might even want to try with Mr. Shepard sometime, take that right hand, or maybe all of it, and raise it an octave or two.
Okay.
I mean, this is how busy it can get. But I've taken it out of the range of where the voice is. All of a sudden, it's like it's whole other animal.
What about playing, instead of singing it, actually